Let's talk about the role of testosterone in women's health. Okay, I think of testosterone as a very overlooked hormone that, of course, it affects energy, libido, muscle health. So let's really dig into this. Of course, it's the hormone that most people associate with men: aggression, muscle building. But what if I told you that testosterone is just as critical for women? That this hormone, one that's often overlooked and misunderstood or dismissed for women, plays a key role in your energy, your libido, your confidence, your metabolism, even your mental clarity. And yet, while men have easy access to testosterone therapy, women's needs in this area have been ignored or dismissed for decades. You could probably even use stronger words than ignored or dismissed. So today we're diving into the role of testosterone in women's health, why it matters, how to know if yours is low, and most importantly, what you can do to optimize it in a way that supports your energy, your vitality, your overall well-being, and also how do you receive support? So let's talk about science, research, history. We'll also get into a little bit of the energetics. You know me, I've always got to sprinkle in some woo-woo. I was a midwife I've always been a midwife, but attending births for 17 years, ran the women's health and functional medicine practices, private practices, federally funded practices since 2007, and Yale-educated. So we've got to have that balance. And then, of course, the mindset shifts that help you feel more powerful in your body. And just want to say, if you're ready to get real answers, my team and I can always order labs no matter where in the world you live. We love working with the Dutch Plus test and the GI map. We currently just shipped some out to New Zealand today and Canada today. So no matter where you are in the world, we've got you covered because you deserve solutions, not just a pat on the back and a prescription for an antidepressant, right? Or to be told, oh, it's just part of aging. You're fine. Okay, so why does testosterone matter for women? Testosterone is not just a male hormone. Women produce it too, primarily in the ovaries and the adrenal glands. While men have significantly higher levels, women need testosterone too. They need it for energy and motivation. Okay, low testosterone is linked to chronic fatigue and burnout. We need it for libido and sexual health. It's the primary driver of sexual desire. We need it for muscle strength and bone density. It prevents muscle loss, supports weight management, and also strengthens bones. You're getting it, right? We need this. Also, testosterone is associated with mood and mental clarity. So low levels have been associated with depression, brain fog, and anxiety. I just had a client. We were trying so many different things. She's been struggling with chronic pain for years, so much that she even got her nutrition degree along the journey of trying to find her own solutions. And along with a few different tweaks, one of the last pieces that really made a difference for her was testosterone. So fascinating. Okay. So signs of low testosterone in women: fatigue, even after restful sleep. And I get it. That can be vague. It could also be that your progesterone is low. It could also be that your blood sugars are out of whack or your adrenals are out of whack. But I'm just talking about testosterone right now. Okay. So low testosterone in women, signs: also low libido, difficulty building or maintaining muscle, midsection weight gain, depression, mood swings, brain fog, and trouble focusing. Right? We've got it. A little bit of research just to sprinkle in. There was a study in 2020 in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism that showed that testosterone therapy in women significantly improved sexual function, mood, and muscle mass. I've also seen research when they were trying to get approved a testosterone patch in the United States. Research was showing a stat sig increase in ability to reach the big O and an overall enhanced enjoyment in the same activity, right? So pretty cool. Okay, let's talk about history a little bit. So the history of studying men versus women's health. Got to be an interesting one, right? Medical research historically prioritized men, treating women as quote unquote smaller men. So hormone research focused on how testosterone affects men's bodies, and men have had access to testosterone therapy for decades. But when women ask, they're often prescribed antidepressants for their mood, given sleeping pills for exhaustion, or handed weight loss drugs for metabolic issues. Instead of getting answers, women get Band-Aids. And I say not anymore. Okay. I mean, I just could talk about this forever, but you think about the access that men have to medications that might enhance their abilities in the realm of pleasure that can even be advertised in like mainstream spaces. And yet women have limited access and are often dismissed by their providers when they ask for testosterone, being told, oh, it's too risky for your cardiovascular well-being, or no, you don't need that. Or providers, just to give them credit, just simply haven't been trained. They don't know where to go. And it's a lot to ask of providers because it is playing with off-label use for the providers that are on the fringes and out in the front of the lines offering women testosterone. So let's talk a little bit about how to increase your testosterone naturally. And here's the deal. I just want to say, I talk about hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, as well as lifestyle changes, nutrition changes, supplement changes. I don't have a strong bias here. There are some people out there that say all women have to be on HRT or you're going to age and die. And others say, no, you can do it all with just lifestyle nutrition change. I get to go, listen, what works for you, right? Are you one of those that wants to start with lifestyle change, supplements and nutrition change, give it 6 months and then reassess? Sweet. You want to go right to the big bang? Sweet. Whatever works best for you. And me and my team are always there to meet your desires. Okay. So anyway, naturally increasing testosterone. Number one is quality sleep. If you go back and listen to the sleep episodes, I did episodes 55, 56, and 57 in the Women's Vibrancy Code podcast. I definitely talked about this, but I want you to hear that the majority of testosterone is produced when we are in deep sleep. Okay. That deep sleep is the higher hormone production time. Okay. So testosterone production actually peaks at night. So prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of sleep is simply a non-negotiable. Okay. Second is weight-bearing exercise. We know that when we lift weights, it boosts testosterone. So you focus on heavy compound movements. And obviously, before we finish, I do want to talk a little bit about acknowledging if you are a woman who's still in your menstruating years, doing that heavy lifting in what I call your springtime and summertime, or follicular phase and ovulatory phase, is going to be the ideal time. You're welcome to listen back to past episodes where I really dig into this cyclic nature. But just keep in mind that weight-bearing exercise does increase testosterone. When we talk about nutrition and supplementation, we think zinc and magnesium, they are foundational. There are also some herbs like maca as a superfood and an adaptogen. Maca has been shown to increase testosterone. Add it to your smoothie, sprinkle it on top of your oatmeal, whatever works for you. There is a supplement called Tongkat Ali, which has been shown to be great at helping to boost testosterone levels. You can also, depending on where in the world you live, if you have access to over-the-counter DHEA or pregnenolone, both of those are hormone precursors, and they convert into estrogen, testosterone, and a little bit into progesterone. Once again, that's a little bit nuanced. I'm not your provider, but it's worth just exploring. And obviously, if you're a client of ours, we help you navigate all of that. I also want to talk about saw palmetto, dim, and chrysin. So sometimes what happens is, depending, when I see a Dutch Plus test with a woman, I can see not just what's your total testosterone production, but what is your body doing with that testosterone? And if you send it down a more alphanergic pathway towards something called DHT, it's going to increase some of the not so great symptoms of testosterone, like new hair growth along the jawline, above your lip, nipples, and abdomen, cystic acne, male hair balding, that kind of thing. And so saw palmetto is a great supplement to kind of blunt that. So that way we can have all the benefits of the testosterone without the negative side effects. DIM, D-I-M, is traditionally known in helping the body better get rid of or excrete your estrogen. But it is one of those that I sometimes will suggest for women to help them get rid of their testosterone if testosterone is too high. And same with creatine. Okay, so then what else to support healthy testosterone production? Healthy fats. So think avocados, salmon, your nuts and seeds, your quality oils like coconut oil, olive oil, that kind of thing. All of those are going to support the production of testosterone, and also ample quality protein intake. Okay. So that is going to help with hormone signaling. Women, we have got to, particularly women over the age of 35, we have got to focus on protein and produce. Protein, produce, they are your friends. Okay, the last thing I wanted to add here is the Amy Cuddy power pose. If you do a quick search for the Amy Cuddy TED Talk, I love what she brought to the surface, which is helping us understand we can make certain poses, put our body in certain positions, and they have actually drawn labs to find that there's an increase in testosterone and a reduction in cortisol with the power pose. So you hold it for 2 minutes. Examples would be the Superwoman pose, having your hands on your hips, shoulders back, chin high, confident, or imagine like the man, the corporate man in the suite with his heels up on his desk, leaning back in his chair with his hands behind his head, right? Think of power, confidence. Hold that pose for 2 minutes, and it has shown a dramatic increase in testosterone and decrease in cortisol. And the cool thing is they found that when individuals did the power pose before going in for a job interview, that increase in testosterone and decrease in cortisol increased their chance of getting the job. Okay, so we like testosterone. It's our friend. While I'm doing this episode on testosterone, I thought there's also value in just talking a little bit about creatine. So it is one of the kind of women's best friends for muscle, mood, and also mitochondria. Okay, so let's talk about creatine a little bit. It's a supplement often associated with men, but also incredibly beneficial for women to do after a weight-bearing exercise. Okay, why it matters. It supports muscle tone and strength, especially during perimenopause and postmenopause, enhances ATP production, which is then going to lead to brain clarity, brain energy, and just overall efficiency and energy in your body. It improves mood and cognition and may assist with hormone balance when combining with strength training. Okay. So I'm saying this to myself as well, to go, right, this morning I did my workout and I forgot, but after my workout, a reminder to add that creatine in. They say usually 3 to 5 grams each day after a heavy workout. And you compare it with a smoothie or a protein for better absorption. So easy thing is just add it into your post-workout smoothie. And if your testosterone is low and you want strength, clarity, stamina, creatine is a nice little add-on. Okay. Getting supplemental testosterone, what do you need to know? If natural methods aren't enough and your labs confirm deficiency, then sometimes going to testosterone replacement therapy or TRT for women is a valid option. Many men comfortably are on TRT. Their providers are comfortable prescribing it. So there's common forms would be injections. They're often weekly or biweekly. Pellets, which are implanted usually in the side of your hip, lasting 3 to 6 months. And there's creams or gels, which require daily application. I'm going to say right up front for women, I do have a preference here. My preference is to go for the creams or the gels. I can't tell you how many clients I've seen that have got the pellets and they're just unhappy. Now you've got this thing that's stuck in your body for dosing. Now you're loaded with testosterone for the next 3 to 6 months. And as the pellets stay in there, the dosing goes down. So for women who enjoy it, now they've got to have this natural titration. They've got to wait for the next pellet to be inserted. If they don't like it, they're stuck with it for 3 to 6 months. So I much prefer just going to the creams, getting a daily application. It's always a good idea to test first, so not just do it based on symptoms, because a lot of these symptoms of low testosterone could also be caused by lots of other things, your thyroid, your adrenals, to name a few. So testing, my preference is to look through both serum and through the Dutch Plus test. So through blood or serum, we can see total and free testosterone. But then through the Dutch Plus, which stands for your dried urine total comprehensive hormones, we're able to see hormone metabolism, the cortisol curve, DHEA, as well as your testosterone. And then I can see what is your body doing with the testosterone. And some individuals do lack an enzyme that will then convert the testosterone into urine. So occasionally I have seen clients where it seems that based on their Dutch Plus test, testosterone is super, super, super low. We double check it over with serum or blood and we go, oh, it's actually not as low as it seems on the Dutch Plus test. This person must just be lacking that enzyme. So I really like to look at both for testosterone specifically. Let's focus a little bit on how to advocate for yourself. Ask to be tested. Okay. Ask for total and free testosterone. Ask for your DHEAS. S is in Sam. If you're working with us and we're already ordering a Dutch Plus test, you don't necessarily need the DHEAS. The other one is called SHBG. It stands for sex hormone binding globulin. That's really nice to see because we can see it kind of like traps or binds the hormones. And so sometimes you might have a certain level of testosterone or estrogen or progesterone roaming the body. But if sex hormone binding globulin is elevated, it's kind of binding it to make it unusable. It's a kind of quick way to describe it. So it's nice to see your estradiol and your progesterone, but I prefer to see that through the Dutch Plus test. If you are going to provider and they're ordering it via blood, listen to me. Okay, take a breath. This is really important. We have to know where in your cycle you are. Okay. If you are getting your estrogen and your progesterone tested, ideally do that between day 18 and 22 of your cycle. Okay. If you're not bleeding, if you're bleeding irregularly, that's a little bit more difficult and nuanced. Let's work together. You know, if you're an ambitious woman and you're really hungry to feel spectacular, you want to get out of the sick care system, out of the insurance model, and you really want personalization and support, then come and let's have a chat. Same with cortisol. Sometimes I'll see providers order cortisol through blood. It's like, what are we going to do with that information? It's one point in time. I much prefer to see the Dutch Plus test so I can see your 24-hour cortisol curve to see when you wake up, it's low. Within 30 minutes, it's high. Within 60 minutes of waking, it's coming back down. And then in the afternoon, it's coming down a little bit more. And before bed, we're low, right? That's what a 24-hour cortisol curve should look like. If you have one cortisol test via blood and it says it's higher than normal or lower than normal, it's like, okay, in comparison to what? What's the reference point? So not a big fan of cortisol via blood. And if you feel dismissed, ask them, if I were a man, would you offer TRT for similar symptoms? If I were a man, would you give testosterone for similar symptoms? Be in the place of self-advocacy and ask that question. And if you have a provider that is really willing to take a pause and be in the place of self-reflection, my guess is most of them would say yes. And they have to look themselves in the mirror and go, why am I treating this female patient differently? Okay. So what we do here within the Women's Vibrancy Code and all of our offerings, courses, and programs with me and the team, we do not prescribe hormones But we do help you order the right labs, often order them for you, decode the results. It's so important when you're having these functional labs done or personalized kind of specific labs. You've got to have someone that is really trained to read them. Okay. Between me and the team, we've got decades of experience specializing in this. So really make sure you've got that support. Then we create a personalized plan based on your symptoms, your lifestyle, your time availability, your travel schedule, and the quantifiable lab results. And then we connect you with helping you to find trusted prescribing providers. Depending on where in the world you live, we're going to help you be in the place of self-advocacy to find someone that does have their prescriptive authority in the area that you live. And yes, that includes Australia. Yes, that includes Canada, right? Yes, that includes insert wherever you live. And then we're going to help to empower your self-advocacy. So you're educated, you know the things to ask for, you know how to ask for them, and you can go in and say, here's why, right? Especially when we can order these kind of specialized functional tests and help you interpret them. When you bring them into your mainstream provider, they are likely very unfamiliar with things like the GI map or the Dutch Plus test. So you can say, here's what my expert has told me on how to interpret this. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about managing testosterone side effects, because if testosterone gets a little bit high or we have poor metabolism of that testosterone, remember when I mentioned that DHT thing, then it can cause, like I said, cystic acne, specifically along the jawline, facial hair increase above the lip, along the jaw, same with increased hair or what's called hirsutism, nipples and abdomen. Sometimes it can cause thinning hair or the male hair balding, so along the scalp line. So we support and helping to balance how the body handles testosterone by, number one, making sure that your estrogen and your progesterone are optimized. That can be with supplements, that can be with lifestyle change, that can be with helping you be in the place of self-advocacy to go get prescriptions as well. Obviously helping you with liver detox. So things like bringing in cruciferous veggies and really making sure your body's doing a good job at getting rid of it. And then also helping you to balance your gut health, looking at your gut microbiome so that you can absorb well and also detox well. Okay. I mentioned that I was going to talk a little bit about syncing and thinking about testosterone and weight training through the lens of your cycle. So for women who are still menstruating, or for women who have had a hysterectomy or beyond menopause and you're no longer bleeding, this still can ring true for you. So for a woman who's bleeding, it's much easier. Okay, we're going to talk about it through phases of your cycle. For a woman who's beyond menopause, I advocate for you to do the moon cycle tracking or menstrual tracking. I have the free download on my site. Grab it, use it for 3 months, because the moon pulls tides. And I find that even women beyond menopause still have a cyclic nature to them. So testosterone peaks during the follicular phase for women who are still menstruating. So meaning that day 6 to 14, so really during follicular and ovulatory time. So that's what I consider spring and summer. That's when testosterone is going to peak. It's also when estrogen builds. So our body is the most resilient to heavy lifting. It's the time that we're the most confident. It's the time that we're ready to be resilient out in the world, brainstorming with the team, putting things into action. One other thing that you might want to consider is when I talk about liver and lymph support, this is kind of like a side note, but I'm just realizing we've got the cycle syncing thing. Hopefully you've got that down, right? So we've got follicular phase, ovulatory phase, or if you're no longer a menstruating woman, you'll find that that's usually at the new moon or the full moon. Most often or not, I hear full moon. And for the, say, week leading up to it. And then side note, we've got liver and lymph support. I want to make sure I talk about that. So liver support, your dandelion, your dandelion root, staying away from alcohol, hydrating, sometimes nettles, but also castor oil packs, dry brushing, seed cycling. All of those are kind of just like, let me just sprinkle that in a little bit for consideration. I think I would be silly to not mention nervous system recalibration. So just remember that hormones can't flourish in chronic stress. Okay. So no matter what hormone we're talking about, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, dopamine, serotonin, thyroid hormones, we have got to address and have the conversation around our nervous system and restore that parasympathetic balance. And then bringing in the nuance of normalizing power and strength and sensuality for women. Okay. Wanting more energy is okay. Wanting more libido, awesome. Wanting more strength. It's not vain. It's a vibrant embodiment. And we really do get to be in that place of self-advocacy. So kind of just wrapping it all up. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Whether it's creatine, lifting weights, exploring TRT, or syncing with your cycle, the path to hormonal vitality is layered. And I believe it's deeply personal. Okay. You're not broken. You are becoming. And your power has never left you. There are always more solutions. Even if you feel like I've tried all the options, I've seen 5 providers, 6 providers. They say on average, a woman has to go knock on 8 different doors of 8 different providers before she's really taken seriously and given what she's looking for, whether it's an autoimmune condition or finally getting the support for her hormonal vitality. So insert me in the team. So glad you're here listening. If you're ready to build strength, revive your libido, feel like you again, of course, me and the team are ready to help you. We can order the right labs, help you understand your numbers, help you understand your options, help you get connected with a provider who gets it. Often women we work with don't even end up needing that provider. That's so much that we can do between me and the team to support you virtually with lifestyle change, nutrition support. There really is a lot over the counter. So if you are an ambitious woman who is really ready to invest time and energy and money into your well-being, into your vitality, into your longevity, knowing the broader impact of what that does as you're building your legacy, you are welcome to apply for a call. The link is in the show notes. Let's get you answers that you deserve. You are made for vibrancy. Okay. And we are here happy to help you. I do want to say it really is for the eager woman. Okay. This is not for someone who's just looking for a quick fix, a Band-Aid fix. Okay. This is a woman who is ready to stand in her power and really say, I want true transformation. I'm willing to make some adjustments. I want to understand, and I really want to be in my power. And if that's you, then let's go. Look forward to seeing you.